Tuesday was a day of voting in Liberia. Citizens went to the polls to choose a replacement for Africa's first female president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, whose 2 terms end in a matter of months.
Well, people queued outside polling stations at dawn, waiting to choose one of 20 presidential candidates to become their next leader. Former football star George Weah and Vice President Joseph Boakai are the main contenders to replace the 78-year-old Sirleaf.
After this election, I'm looking for a leader that is transparent, a leader that will seek the interests of the people, in that a leader that will improve the education system, the health sectors, not only for the health sectors, not only improving it with a lot of staff, but that of good equipment that when people fall sick, they won't like to go.
We're just fighting for peace. We want peace right now. We want peaceful country. We want peaceful situation. We want things to go fine. Yeah.
The people know what they want.
Indeed, they know what they want. And TVC News senior researcher Cyril Abako is with us in the studio to look at the conduct so far. Good morning to you, Cyril.
Good morning, Cyril.
Peaceful poll in Liberia after trying out Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. You're impressed?
Of course, I'm very impressed. I think that one of the biggest challenges after the transition was keeping the peace. And then on top of that was the question of infrastructure, the question of unemployment, the question of poverty and so on. And I think that on that score, so much remains to be done, but Ellen Johnson Sirleaf has done so much to keep the peace together. Remember, she's a diplomat, bureaucrat and all of that. But I think that going into the polls, it's also important that democratic culture is gradually taking root. If you look at what has happened in elections across the continent in the past few months, or even in the past few years, and I think that Liberians have taken the bulls by the horn. If you look at what happened towards the elections, there was frequent outbreak of clashes between supporters of Joseph Boakai and George Weah. But they went to the polls and they voted peacefully, even if there were difficulties. Some people's names were not on the ballot, you know, on the voting roll and all of that. But they've taken it peacefully, and as at last night, vote counting was already underway. Let's hope. It is likely that they will head into a runoff in November.
Okay,
like what we had
that's
in the
a totally different issue. But
yes.
Because we're pressed for time, Johnson Sirleaf in her speech to the nation said, vote for yourself, vote for your family, vote for your future, your children, your children's children. Who out of the 2 front runners, Boakai and George Weah, do you think will actually reflect that particular mindset?
I think if you look at what Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did, she deliberately refused to campaign for her own vice president. That's a clear pointer that she wants something else.
Even though she was accused of actually clandestinely supporting George Weah.
George Weah.
There are also
who ran against her.
If we bring it down to, is it peace now as they say, Weah was very popular, very charismatic, he was wanted, you know, at the time Johnson Sirleaf won the election. True. But because perhaps the country was just coming from war and all of that, and all that Weah brought to the table was that he was the former footballer and then wanted to lead the people. He didn't have much experience, much, you know, competence and all that. So he won the first round, but he lost in the runoff. So perhaps there was this tacit gentleman agreement that, look, let me have it this time, and then you come up later to, you know, to take it up from there. But interestingly again, in spite of her refusal to back her vice president, in the pre-election polls, he was sort of ahead. And then the challenge has been tough. All the 20 candidates are saying the same things. So in the end, it comes down to personalities. In the past 10 months, George Weah has been giving people free food at his
I was about to say that really.
Boakai has been saying that he will not rely on any foreign donors or donations.
Or
These will have to build the country themselves.
These are platitudes. But in the end, Liberians want people who are someone who is going to help them fight poverty, someone who is going to help them deal with corruption. Because Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, you know, can be, I mean, she appointed 3 of her sons into government. Corruption has not abated. They need a leader who is going to deal with corruption. And if, in a way, Sirleaf is not backing Boakai, and the feeling is that, look, where I wasn't given the first time, let him also have his own shot. Perhaps when the votes are tied, if they are indeed tied, and then heading to the round, that's when the real battle is going to take place. That should come out, I think, the 2nd week of November. So that's what we should really be looking at.
Indeed, it seems it's going to be a decision by the people now between experience and then, of course, a greenhorn coming to the party, but then that is well loved by the people.
Well, can Weah still be referred to as a greenhorn, having had some experience in the Senate and seeing this election? You know, I mean, he had 12 solid years of observing how these things play out. If he can, as far as, you know, I mean, his running mate is Chancellor's ex-wife.
Yeah.
Which means he has realized that, look, this thing is not just about having a good heart and goodwill. There are certain political blocks that you also have to appeal to.
Now knows politics.
And apparently he's willing to play ball now. So you can't just shift him aside and say, does not have the experience.
And people are already asking, is Charles Taylor pulling the strings from prison? Very interesting one.
Yes,
Charles
yes.
Cyril Abako, thank you so much, senior researcher.
Thank you for coming.
TVC.